Release of a knowledge report. We now have the release of a knowledge report. India Retail Real Estate, revived, reshaped, and reinforced. I'd like to invite Mr. Pankaj Renjhen, Chief Operating Officer and Joint Managing Director, ANAROCK Retail. And I'd like to invite from REI, Mr. Kumar Rajagopalan, our Chief Executive Officer. We will first have the release of the report, and thereafter, Mr. Renjhen will make a short presentation on what the report is all about. India Retail Real Estate, revived, reshaped, and reinforced. Mr. Pankaj Renjhen is Chief Operating Officer and Joint Managing Director, ANAROCK Retail. Could I also have on stage Dr. Hitesh Bhatt, Director, Marketing and Communications, REI, to join in the release of this report. There we are, the release of the report on real estate, revived, reshaped, and reinforced with respect to the retail industry in India. Congratulations to ANAROCK Consulting, ANAROCK Retail, and Retailers Association of India. And now we have Mr. Pankaj Renjhen to make a quick presentation on what the report is all about. Hello, check.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here today. So please pick up a copy of the report, and I'm just going to give you a quick summary of the report and the background in terms of what's happening in the retail real estate world, because I think today we're all talking about really fueling the retail business in India, and retail real estate forms the entire backbone of this growth journey in India. So let's just see what's happening actually and why is it happening. So basically the basic fundamentals of India, and on the Indian real estate in terms of retail. The organized retail market share is currently about 18%. We are a $2 trillion retail market by 2032. If you look at the per capita space in developed economies, the per capita space in developed economies, if you take up United States and everybody talks about it, is 23.1 square feet. Whereas in India, we're still at 0.8 in the top 3 cities. And we're talking about top cities are Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore. Even countries which have much lower population like United Kingdom is about 4. So, there is a huge opportunity or the gap which still exists. So we're not even talking about the fact that how much the economy is going to grow alone. We are just talking about is bridging the gap in terms of saying where the market is currently today. If we are still underserved, fairly underserved, because majority of the retail dominance, and particularly in the retail real estate, what the space which is occupied by unorganized players. The organized market is going to grow exponentially as well. So by the time there are 2 big factors. One is the existing market, the gap is very high and the demand is there. Secondly, the organized unorganized is going to get organized, which has been a typical story of India. So there is a huge amount of demand which is happening in the retail space, and because of demand coming from retailers, from the organized retailers in the country. And obviously, we're the fourth largest economy in the world. I mean, let's be honest about it. Official statistics, we are 1.3 billion people and about probably 1.4 to 1.5, probably going to be the largest economy in the world. Average age in is predicted that after 5 years, the average age in India is going to be 27. So you have a huge amount of young population which will need basics to consume every day. You're talking about every day in the morning, everybody needs a toothpaste, everybody needs a cup of tea, everybody needs a bread, everybody needs basic clothing, value retail as well in terms of clothes, shopping, fashion, and talking about a young and aspirational customer. So obviously it's a huge market for the world. So this is where the opportunity really lies. Who's fueling this growth in terms of retail real estate? So I can see one of my friends smiling there from Lulu. If you just look at the top 4 or 5, I'm not saying that these are all the biggest players, but I'm saying let's take some of the large representatives of the players and some of the announcements and the number of projects which they are doing. The last we saw the investment in the retail business was pre-global financial crisis. So the pre-Lehman Brothers global financial crisis was the first big-time investments which had happened in retail. So it was the era between 2004 to 2008 was a big-time investment which happened in retail. Post the global financial crisis, which is really 2009 when the real estate markets started reviving, we saw a big investments go into office parks, IT SEZs, because the SEZ policy had just come up, and residential. Retail was never a big foray of big real estate investment which went in. Between 2014 to 2018, we saw some investments and incremental investments by large players like DLF, Lulu, Phoenix, Forum Group out of Bangalore, Prestige, that is Oberoi Realty, Inorbit, K-Reja Corp, and a couple of others invest into malls. But I think the pace was more sure-footed and one by one. It was not multiple projects, multiple cities, and it was not multiple projects in terms of across in saying we'll do millions and millions of square feet. I think the race now is the momentum has picked up significantly today. Today we are talking about large players announcing multiple projects in multiple cities at the same time and across the country. Most of these players, if you look at it, were very regional players. Now, a lot of them have become national level players. So today when you talk about retail organized space, when you go talk to a developer, you are not talking to him and saying that, okay, where is your malls? Typically Phoenix was a very West India developer for retail. Lulu was a very South India or a Kerala based developer. Today, developers like those are building across the country. All these developers are building across the country and they're across the, so you have a large amount of quality real estate available. What it means from a customer standpoint is there is experience of quality consumption which can happen because there are these shopping centers which are giving you the opportunity to experience quality retail. From a retailer's perspective, and I'm sure a lot of you are there in the audience are retailers, you have some players available to you where you can forge partnerships and relationships and build a pan-India expansion network with them. So it becomes much more easier, it's much more organized, and gives you the opportunity to pay on a larger footprint in India. And the opportunity today is not about, and I'm going to talk more about tier 2 and tier 3, is not about only the big cities, which is Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, or Calcutta. Today it's a lot more in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And so you'll see a lot of these mall developers, the large ones, are actually building in more in tier 2 and tier 3 today than building in tier 1. I'm not going to statistics, so in terms of numbers, these numbers are more detailed and covered in the report. Mall overview, just to give you a perspective, still we are dominant in terms of supply is in the top 3 cities. So if you look at just Mumbai metropolitan region and the NCR region in terms of quality grade A mall supply, it takes care of 51% of the malls which are there in India. So the biggest opportunity is there that the large part of this country is still unexplored. A large part of this country does not have enough quality retail spaces to go to, whether it's shopping centers, malls, even purpose-built today, what we call quasi high streets. When I say mean quasi high streets, you see today gone are the days when it was just about retail, was about big box malls. Today is also about where you can provide in the catchment where there is a customer base, which is there is in an habitable region, there's enough people there. Can you provide a good quality shopping experience, which could be open air, where there's enough parking and there is availability of the right retail spaces in terms of whether it's entertainment space, fashion, food. Today, food is the biggest fashion again. Today, more people are spending time eating out much more often than they are doing at home. Eating out is now 2 or 3 times a week. Earlier, it used to be selectively once or twice a month. So there is, the opportunity is now growing, is there in much more in other cities as well. But obviously, the demand is led by the larger cities. Vacancies are at an all-time low in high-quality malls. It is sub 10%. So if you look at it, it's currently 6% in tier 1 malls. It is sub 10%. And this 6% is also there because probably some retailer is moving out, another retailer has not taken possession and is yet to start fit out. So, and typically we say that up to 10% vacancy is part of the process. So it's not something we call as vacancy because there's empty spaces. It's a transition space. So really we are talking about right now in the retail space in terms of tier 1 malls or good quality malls in the large cities with good developers. They're really running neck to neck full. In fact, probably they will have a pipeline of retailers waiting in line to get spaces as well. So how is the stock principally distribution in terms of where the retail stock currently is? If we look at tier 2 cities, so these are the really what we're saying, few of the tier 2 cities, these are not all, but just to give you a flavor in terms of where the growth is happening. So the growth is happening in cities like Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, Lucknow, Kochi and Indore. Lucknow, 2 very large million square feet plus malls built by 2 national developers, one is Lulu and one is Phoenix, opened up. Rentals have increased by 14%. If you look at average India, the rentals in good quality shopping centers and high streets has increased by more than 15%. Purely because, not because there is demand. Yes, there is huge demand, but there also is that this demand is there because the retailers there are able to make returns to sustain those rentals. And there's a lack of quality space. So it's because of these 2 or 3 reasons that there is the rentals are increasing. We think the rentals are stabilizing, but will continue to increase in certain micro markets as we go by, and obviously low vacancy levels. Some cities like Indore and all have also seen higher rentals by about 25%. So average India in terms of good quality tier 2 cities has also seen incremental rentals between 15 to 20 to 25% as well. This is very truly representative across the country. As I said, some micro markets and some markets may behave a little differently, but this is more of a general representation in the top tier 2 markets in India. We will see about 5 million square feet of supply coming up in tier 2 cities in the next 4 to 5 years. What we think is realistic. Obviously, there is a lot more planned, a lot more announced, but what we always say that what gets announced and what's planned doesn't necessarily come up because lots of projects don't get developed and completed because of various issues. So we're saying realistically itself, we're saying 4 to 5 million square feet is going to come up. What are the top retail trends? With 94% occupancy, as I said, this is probably the best occupancy you'll ever get. And in 2026, there'll be 25 million square feet of retail space which is going to get added. Post-pandemic, the sales have increased. So it's not only rentals have increased. Every retail category which you talk to has shown a double-digit, higher double-digit growth of, in terms of compounded rate of growth. Post-pandemic, we saw 15-20%. Now we're again seeing 15-20%. So the last 2 years, we're seeing about 20-25% growth of sales, which has happened across categories. Some categories have done extremely well. Initially, electronics did very well. Beauty did very well. Home improvements did extremely well. Now, F&B, premium fashion, premium dine, premium fashion is extremely showing great robustness. Cinemas was slower because obviously there was an impact and cinemas opened the last post-COVID. And secondly, also the quality of content available in cinemas is not there. But today we're seeing quality of content being available is better. The cinemas are showing promising numbers as well. So overall, there is a robustness in the entire industry overall in terms of the overall when we look at the entire retail fraternity of each category and we pick up. And so some segments are growing faster, some are, but every segment is continuously growing and each of them are more than 10 to 15% growth which is seen in sales. One more also trend which we have seen is post-COVID when the e-commerce business started settling down and people started coming out of their homes to start shopping. a lot of the online brands started opening retail stores. So when we kept talking earlier, we used to keep talking about omni-channel. It was all about brick and mortar retailers going and opening online channels. But now it's become completely fungible. The online retailers are also opening stores. I'm not talking about marketplaces, but I'm talking about online retailers like Mamaearth, for example, which are really specific brands. They are opening a lot of stores. So today it's a lot more journey because everybody realizes that the customer's journey is, you don't know where it starts and where it ends. Secondly, you have to capture the mindset of the customer because he's willing to come out of their homes to come and shop. So you could call it fatigue, you could call it, reason is that you have to be in the face of the customer. So it's also, online is also showing growth in the brick and mortar business as well. The big other news is earlier one of the biggest challenge was capital in retail. Raising capital had got solved because the well-capitalized developers were building retail, whether it's Phoenix, DLFs, Rejas and the others. They all had a challenge in terms of what to do after we've got it built and we've leased it. How do we exit and monetize those assets? How do we sell those assets? So the first REIT, which is hopefully should in the next 2 or 3 months will get listed, which has already been filed by Blackstone, which is the largest owner of shopping centers along with Select City Walk, which will be a portfolio about 18 to 19 malls, which should have got listed in by somewhere between the next 2 or 3 months. So that will be the first exit as a portfolio and will be available traded platform for retail shopping centers. So that will happen very soon. It's already been filed with the regulator. So hopefully we should see the first big exit and a new way of exiting and raising capital or liquidating, monetizing these assets will happen. Outlook, we continue to believe that this will continue to grow significantly the next 3 to 5 years. We don't see any blips in that journey, purely because of the fact that the consumption continues to grow. Secondly, the consumption has gone beyond the tier 1 cities. It's a lot more tier 2 and tier 3 cities. There are a lot more quality retail destinations. Today, retailers are not dependent on saying that I want to go to those big box malls. They are willing to go and experiment and put up stores in high streets, or office buildings where retail has got frontage on the main road, and as long as there's a customer base, they're willing to do that. So they're looking to take more bets which are more open, which is not very closed-ended, saying I will only go to a mall. We're saying anything where a customer is willing to come and I can provide him the experience, and the customer feels that there is an opportunity, or there is a space or an ecosystem which exists for him or her to be there. They're willing to come there. Thank you so much. Please feel free to pick up the copy of the report, and we're happy to answer any questions. Please feel to email us.
Thank you very much to Mr. Prakash. Pankaj Renjhen. Sir, could you kindly come back on stage for a moment? I'll request Dr. Hitesh Bhatt to kindly present a small token of appreciation and gratitude to Mr. Pankaj Renjhen, Chief Operating Officer and Joint Managing Director, ANAROCK Retail. Thank you very much, Mr. Renjhen. Thank you, Dr. Bhatt, for doing the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a presentation on APNA, impacting the retail growth story. APNA is India's fastest organization to go unicorn. And to make the presentation, we've got Mr. Nirmit Parikh, Chief Executive Officer and Founder of APNA, impacting the retail growth story. APNA.